Okay, simplifying rational expressions. We're going to look at simplifying rational expressions in this section, then we're going to look at multiplying and dividing them in the next section. A rational expression is simply an expression that has a fraction bar. Usually a more complicated fraction than like 1/2. Usually it's more complicated like this. Excluded values are numbers we cannot use. They're restricted, usually because of something that's going on in the problem. For example, if you're taking a square root, we don't know how to take the square root of negative numbers, so we would not be able to have any negative numbers inside the square root. Okay, for these problems, we can't divide by what? Well, you can't divide by 0, so the denominator of this cannot equal 0. So whatever would make this be 0, whatever would make the bottom turn out to be 0, a cannot be. Well, a can't be 0 then, because 0 cubed would still be 0 times 7 would still be 0. So the bottom cannot be 0. A cannot be 0. All right, as far as simplifying this, 21 over 7 simplifies to 3. And then a to the second over a to the third, excuse me, if you recall back to module 1 when we were looking at dividing like bases, we would subtract those exponents. So 2 minus 3 is negative 1. So there's one way to write our answer, but we learned that negative exponent's not simplified. So if we want to simplify this and make this a positive exponent, we are going to move it to the denominator and make it a positive exponent. So this would have to go down to make this become a positive exponent, and you don't really need to put a 1 on the a, it would just be 3 over a. All right, the next problem we're going to look at is this one. Skip that top one for now. So if we're going to work on this problem and we want to simplify, some people want to try and cancel like the 8s. You can't do that. Everything there is connected together. It's one piece. It's not one term, but it's one piece. All of that would have to be canceled with an exact replica. So then they want to say, okay, well, let's cancel the 2x minus 8 with the 2x minus 8. You can't do that either because the bottom isn't just 2x minus 8. It's got other stuff there too. All right, so what we want to do is we want to try and factor this. In the top, we have a common factor of 2 that we're going to take out. Okay, factoring out the GCF. On the bottom, this is our trinomial factored to two binomials. X squared is going to factor to x and x. The negative 8, we need to find two things that multiply to negative 8 and then add up to negative 2. So this is going to be the combination that works for us if we make a list and work that out. Now, this can be canceled because this is multiplied times the 2, this is multiplied times the x plus 2, so that whole piece, that whole factor can be canceled. So we cancel the x minus 4s and we have a 2 left on top and an x plus 2 left on bottom. If keeping the parenthesis around that helps you, that's fine, but this 2 and this 2 cannot be canceled. That's what your answer is going to turn into. Now, the last thing is we have to check those denominators to make sure that we don't have anything in there that's going to create 0. Well, if this piece were 0 or this piece were 0, our denominator would be 0. So what number would be in here that would make this piece 0? Well, 4 minus 4 makes 0, so x cannot equal 4. And on this side, x cannot equal negative 2 because negative 2 plus 2 would make 0. So these are our restricted values. Now, mathematically, we are setting those up and saying that that can't equal 0, so you add 4 to both sides, so that can't equal 4. Or for the second piece, x plus 2 cannot equal 0, so therefore subtract 2 on both sides. X cannot equal negative 2. That's where we're getting that from. Okay, but a lot of you should be able to just look at that and see that shouldn't be 2 or that shouldn't be negative 4 or whatever. All right, down here at the bottom's the next one I'm going to look at. Trinomial and trinomial. So we're going to try and split to two binomials. Top one multiplies to negative 6 and adds up to negative 1. So negative 3 and positive 2 multiplies to negative 6, adds up to negative 1. The bottom one multiplies to 6, positive 6, and adds up to positive 5. So I think that's what we're going to get. and then we have c plus 2 that will cancel. So our final answer is c minus 3 over c plus 3. If you want to keep parentheses around it, that's fine, but you cannot cancel the c's, you cannot cancel the 3's. Restricted values. C cannot equal -2 or -3. Okay, if it were equal to -2, this would become 0. If it would equal to -3, this would become 0. Even though we're crossing that out, that's canceling, we still have to restrict that value. All right, I think that's all we're going to do for now. If you want some more, let me know. I can go over some more with you guys in class.